right, everyone, welcome back to the show.
Huh.
Today, we're going to do a deep dive into something that's probably on your mind if you own a home or business here in New Zealand, and that's termites.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the most fun topic, but certainly an important one.
Very important.
Yeah, we've got a whole stack of sources here, pest control websites, a government site, even a building inspection website to try to give you a really good overview of how to deal with this problem if you've got it, or how to spot it before it becomes a big problem.
And it's an expensive problem.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw in one of the sources, this professional pest manager, that in Australia, termites cause over $1 billion in damage every year
Yeah.
in buildings.
It's a huge problem, and it's something to watch out for.
Yeah, so.
Even though we don't have the same problem in New Zealand, it is something that can be really costly and damaging.
Yeah, let's actually start there.
Yeah.
What exactly are termites, and why are they such a problem?
Termites, they're tiny insects that live in colonies,
Right.
and they love wood, which unfortunately is what our houses are made out of, and they just eat it.
Yeah, they're like little tiny ants.
Yeah.
And they just munch away at the wood and...
They munch away at the wood inside your walls for months or even years.
Right.
Before you even realize they're there.
So how do you know if you have these unwanted guests?
Well, there's a few telltale signs.
Okay.
You've got wood that sounds hollow when you tap on it. You might see some mud tubes on walls or foundations. They build these little highways.
Ew.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
They swarm as well, so you might see discarded wings.
Okay, so let's say you've spotted some of those things. What's the next step?
You need to act fast.
Okay.
Professional pest manager actually recommend getting a pre-purchase timber inspection
Yeah.
when you're buying a home, so you can be sure there are no hidden termite surprises waiting for you.
Yeah, it's like getting an x-ray
Yeah.
for your house
safe.
before you buy it so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. And if you're building or renovating, there's regulations in New Zealand around termite protection.
Right.
You need to make sure your property is built to resist these little invaders.
So prevention is key.
Absolutely.
But let's say, for argument's sake, that you do end up with a termite infestation.
Okay.
What are your options then? What can you do to get rid of them?
There's a few different approaches. Chemical barriers, that's where they create a treated zone around your property.
Right.
There's also bait systems. They attract the termites and slowly poison the colony.
So it sounds like there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Yeah, you need to find the right treatment for your specific situation, and that's why it's so important to call in a qualified pest control professional.
Oh, speaking of professionals, one company we saw while we were researching this was Steam and Dry Pest Control Auckland Services.
Yes.
And they use 80 degrees Celsius steam to kill and remove pests.
Yeah, it's very unique.
Yeah, they can target everything from cockroaches and fleas to dust mites and even carpet beetles.
Yeah, and before they even start the traditional pest control treatments.
That's a good point. And they also emphasize the eco-friendly aspect of their services.
Which is something a lot of people are looking for these days.
Absolutely. It's not just about being gentle on the environment. It's also about protecting your family and pets from harsh chemicals.
Yeah.
And it's not just steam and dry out there.
Of course not.
The professional pest manager has this great tool on their website called the Pest Control Company Locator.
Yeah.
So if you need to find someone locally, that can help you.
That's really handy.
Yeah. And we also saw the local guys Pest Control Rent-A-Kill.
Yeah.
All building inspections.
Plenty of options.
Yeah. So lots of options out there. But let's step outside the termite world for a minute.
Yeah, okay.
What other creepy crawlies do we share New Zealand with?
Oh, there's a few bed bugs,
Yeah.
houseflies,
Yeah.
bats.
Rats are a problem too, right?
Huge problem.
Yeah. I imagine.
They can chew through anything, even metal, and they spread diseases, contaminate food.
Okay, they're on my no list now officially.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Professional pest manager also mentions fire ants that are an invasive species that's been spreading in Australia.
Why?
They can cause some painful stings.
Ouch.
Yeah, not good.
They disrupt ecosystems as well.
So the world of pests is pretty complex.
It is, but that's why we're here to give you all the information you need
Exactly.
to protect yourself and your property.
And on that note, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about how to find the right pest control expert for your needs.
You know, it's amazing how these pests manage to, survive.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about all the problems they cause, but they really are quite incredible at adapting
and
to all sorts of environments.
like little ninjas finding ways into our homes and businesses.
Yeah.
You mentioned bed bugs earlier. It's crazy to think that they've been perfecting their hiding skills for thousands of years.
I know Steam and Dry was talking about how they can squeeze into tiny cracks and crevices.
Yeah. No wonder they're hard to get rid of.
It really does emphasize that prevention is the best strategy.
Yeah.
Just regularly inspecting your property, even if it's a quick check, can save you a lot of trouble down the road.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's not even about looking for the pests themselves. It's those little changes, those subtle hints that something's wrong, like the mud tubes.
Right.
Or the sound of damaged wood.
Yeah, knowing what to look for is half the battle. And if you're ever unsure, there's no shame in calling in a professional.
No, not at all. That's what they're there for.
That's what they're there for. And that's where these resources, like that company locator on Professional Pest Manager, are so handy.
Yeah, takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
Finding a qualified expert.
Yeah, speaking of experts, we were both pretty impressed by Steam and Dry's approach.
Yeah.
Using hot steam to eliminate pests. I mean, that's pretty innovative.
Yeah, they seem to be leading the way in eco-friendly pest control here in Auckland.
Yeah. And it's not just residential properties either. They're certified for commercial use as well.
Yeah, different environments require different approaches.
Right. Like a restaurant's can have different needs than, say, a warehouse or a school.
Exactly. You need to find a company that understands the specific challenges of your sector.
It's about finding the right partner. Someone you trust to protect your property and your peace of mind. But you know me, I like to always look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
We talked about individual pests, how to deal with them, but what are the broader implications of what we've learned today?
That's a good question. One thing that struck me was the mention of fire ants and how they're expanding their territory.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that climate change could have a really big impact on pest populations in different areas.
Yeah. That's a bit of a scary thought.
Yeah.
As temperatures change, weather patterns shift, we could see new pests popping up in places where they weren't a problem before.
Exactly. And that has all sorts of implications for agriculture, ecosystems, public health.
It really does highlight how interconnected everything is. Humans, pests, the environment.
Yeah.
We can't ignore those connections. So what does all this mean for you, the listener?
Well, I think it reinforces the idea that staying informed and being proactive is really important.
Yeah.
Knowing the signs of an infestation, taking steps to prevent problems.
Yeah.
That's really key.
And it's not just about protecting your own property. It's about being aware of that wider ecological context.
Yes, absolutely.
And making choices that minimize our impact on the environment as a whole.
It's about taking responsibility.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave you with one final thought. So we talked about eco-friendly pest control, and Steam and Dry is doing some pretty cool things there. But beyond just choosing the right company, what other steps can you take at home to make sure your choices are sustainable?
That's a good question. It really makes you think about it, not just, reacting to the problem when it pops up.
Right.
But taking that longer-term view and making choices that are good for you, good for your property, good for the environment as well.
It's all connected.
It is.
Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, everything from how to spot those pesky invaders to the importance of prevention and finding those experts to help you out.
We hope this has been helpful for you.
Yeah.
And that you learned a thing or two about how to deal with these unwanted guests.
Keep exploring this topic. Share your experiences.
Yeah.
Ask questions. Stay curious.
Absolutely.
This world of pests, it's constantly changing.
It is.
The more we learn, the better equipped we'll be to coexist peacefully.
As peacefully as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
On that note, happy pest-free living, everyone.
Happy pest-free living.